AI coding agents can read files, run commands, and call tools. That makes them useful for debugging and software delivery. It also places them near credentials developers often forget. Secrets may appear in files, variables, logs, or terminal output. An agent can expose them without intentionally stealing anything. A generated patch might include a copy token by mistake. A test command might print a credential into session history. The real boundary is everything the agent can read and send. Secure coding agents by controlling that boundary first. Most credentials are not stored in one obvious place. They may live inside local environment files. Cloud command line profiles can hold long-lived access keys. Package managers may use private registry tokens. Build systems inject secrets as environment variables. Test fixtures sometimes contain realistic credentials by accident. Terminal history and debug logs can preserve sensitive values. Generated artifacts may copy configuration into public output. The workspace must be mapped before the agent starts. Imagine an agent asked to repair a failed deployment test. The workspace includes source code and a production environment file. The agent runs a broad command to inspect configuration. That command prints a real service token into the terminal. The terminal output becomes part of the agent's session. The agent then drafts a diagnostic file containing that value. Secret scanning notices it only when a commit is attempted. The repository was protected, but the token was already exposed. Prevention must begin before the first command runs. A secret does not need to reach a public repository. Reading it into model context can be exposure. Printing it into a hosted session can be exposure. Writing it into an artifact or cache can be exposure. Passing it to an unnecessary tool can be exposure. The credential may remain valid long after the task ends. Long-lived credentials turn a brief mistake into lasting risk. Treat uncertain exposure as a reason to revoke or rotate. Do not wait for confirmed misuse before containing it. Start with a dedicated repository checkout or ephemeral environment. Mount only the files required for the task. Exclude home directories, browser profiles, and personal documents. Do not copy production environment files into development workspaces. Use synthetic fixtures instead of real customer data. Keep cloud profiles and private keys outside the mounted path. Block access to sibling repositories unless the task requires them. Delete temporary artifacts when the isolated run finishes. A clean workspace removes entire categories of accidental exposure. Development agents should not inherit production identity. Use separate accounts for development, testing, and production. Give each agent task its own workload identity when possible. Bind that identity to one repository and one workflow. Restrict resources, actions, regions, and network destinations. Do not share an administrator token across multiple agents. Prevent development credentials from working against production systems. Require a separate reviewed path for production changes. Environment separation makes mistakes easier to contain. Some tasks legitimately require access to a private resource. Provide one dedicated secret for that exact purpose. Do not pass every build and deployment secret together. Keep tool-specific secrets inside the tool boundary when supported. Remember that environment variables are visible to executed scripts. Masking logs helps, but it cannot prevent every disclosure path. Avoid commands that dump the complete environment. Redact sensitive output before it reaches agent context. Secret delivery should be narrow, explicit, and reviewable. Long-lived keys remain useful until someone revokes them. Temporary credentials expire even if they are accidentally exposed. Use workload roles or dynamic secrets instead of static keys. Set the shortest practical lifetime for the task. Grant read-only access when writing is unnecessary. Issue unique credentials so activity can be attributed. Revoke the lease when the agent run completes or fails. Never recycle the same token across unrelated projects. Short lifetime and narrow scope reduce the value of leakage. Terminal output often becomes part of agent reasoning. Build logs may be stored longer than the workspace. Disable shell tracing around commands that handle credentials. Avoid printing headers, connection strings, or complete configuration. Use redaction filters for known secret formats and sensitive fields. Store command results only as long as investigation requires. Review failure messages from package managers and cloud tools. Prevent debug modes from exposing environment variables. Logs should explain failures without reproducing credentials. A coding agent rarely needs unrestricted internet access. Allow only package registries and services required by the task. Block unknown destinations by default. Separate dependency downloads from authenticated production access. Require review before adding a new network destination. Monitor unusual uploads, request bodies, and DNS activity. Remember that approved domains can still receive excessive data. Combine egress controls with workspace and credential restrictions. The safest secret is one the agent cannot transmit. File access and terminal execution should have defined limits. Cloud, database, and deployment tools need stronger controls. Require approval before reading secret stores or changing permissions. Show the exact command target and credential scope. Reject broad wildcards and unexplained privilege expansion. Keep policy enforcement outside the language model. Record which tool accessed which resource and why. The run when behavior leaves the approved task boundary. Tool access should reflect consequence, not convenience. Secret scanning can catch many known credential patterns. Run it before commits pushes artifacts and pull requests. Use push protection to block detected secrets before repository history. Treat bypass requests as security events that require justification. Scan generated files, examples, fixtures, and documentation. Add custom patterns for internal tokens where supported, but pattern scanning does not detect every sensitive value. Large changes in unusual formats can reduce coverage. Scanning is a final guardrail, not permission to expose secrets. First, revoke or rotate the credential. Do not delay containment while proving where it traveled. Identify the agent session commands, tools, and affected files. Search commits, branches, artifacts, caches, logs, and transcripts. Review downstream authentication and resource access records. Replace shared credentials with unique task identities. Remove the original exposure path from the workspace. Document the control failure and test the correction. Recovery ends when the old credential is unusable everywhere. Map every secret source before enabling the agent. Use an isolated workspace with synthetic data. Separate development identity from production identity. Issue narrow, short-lived credentials only when required. Redact terminals, logs, artifacts, and model visible output. Restrict egress and place dangerous tools behind policy. Scan every generated change before it leaves the workspace. If you are finding this content useful, please subscribe, like, and comment. Build coding agents that can change code without inheriting your secrets.